Good day, everyone. Welcome to another video lecture for Intermediate Accounting 3. I am your instructor, Ms. Jazelmay Celerinos Del Monte. So our topic for this video is all about the notes to financial statements. So what is the notes to financial statements? This provide narrative description or disaggregation of items presented in the financial statements and information about items that do not qualify for recognition. So first is narrative description or disaggregation of items. So as I've mentioned in my previous video all about the statement of financial position, we have for each element of the financial position such as asset, which is classified into current and non-current assets. So each classification has a minimum line item. So in the minimum line item, that will show the combined or a group or the group of different accounts. So how or where do we see the disaggregation or the details of those minimum line items? So diri siya sa notes to financial statements. So diri siya disaggregation of items presented in the financial statements. So as I've mentioned, katong sa balance sheet, kato ganing sa mga minimum line item, kuan man to siya, group lang man to siya, group of different accounts, and then the amounts there is already a combination of all the balances of those accounts. So ang detalye ana niya diri makita sa notes to financial statements. And aside from that, in the notes to financial statement, we can also see the items that do not qualify for recognition, meaning katong wala na report sa other FS, sa ato ang balance sheet, sa income statement, but needs disclosure. So kailangan siya og disclosure. So mo to siya, makita nato na siya sa notes to financial statements. So notes to financial statements are used to report information that does not fit in the body of these statements in order to enhance the understandability of the statements. So again, pag may tag notes to financial statement, this provides a narrative description. So kung makita na to, ang katong naa sa other components of the financial statements, mga naka-condense na to siya, naka-summarize na ng mga figures, tanang detalye ato niya will be shown in the notes to financial statements. Okay? To enhance the understandability of the statement. The notes provide additional information and help clarify the items presented in the financial statements. So, katong mga dili kaayo masabtan sa other FS, sa other components of the FS, dito siya ang full details sa notes to financial statements. Pass 1, paragraph 113, provide that an entity, as far as practicable, present notes in a systematic manner. Meaning, sa standard na atay order, okay, order of information, i-present nato sa notes to financial statement. Dili siya nagkarambol-rambol. Kung dili na asay order, pagkasunod-sunod sa mga information nga imo i-present sa notes to financial statement. Each item on the face of the financial each item on the face of the statement of financial position, income statement, statement of comprehensive income, statement of changes in equity, and statement of cash flow shall be cross-referenced to any related information in the notes. So, i-cross-reference, meaning, say for example, if in the minimum line item nga naa sa statement of financial position, imuha siyang i-refer sa notes to financial statements. The notes of financial statements shall be highly detailed, precise, complete, and easily understood by a reader who has a reasonable understanding of business affairs and is willing to study the financial statements. Purpose of these notes to financial statements. The purpose is to provide a necessary disclosure. The necessary disclosures required by the PFRS. Specifically, Pass 1, paragraph 112 provides that the notes to financial statements shall, letter A, present information about the basis of preparation of the financial statements and the specific accounting policies used. So, unsa may ginagamit nato nga kuan. So, of course, ano man to no? Gaap man ta no? So, natay mga accounting standards, we use PAS or the PFRS. Then disclosure or disclose the information required by the PFRS that is not presented in the financial statements. Example, kato ganing contingent liability, provisions are recognized, so makita niyo siya sa statement of financial position, but contingent liability, since it is only possible, so disclosure lang ang iyahang kailangan. So, i-disclose siya dito as a notes to financial statement because that is required by the PFRS. Provide additional information which is not presented in the financial statements but is relevant to understanding of the financial statements. Okay, isa sa mga importante nga kailangan of disclosure if there is a threat to going concern. So, kailangan ang entity, ang reporting entity, dili niya itago nga na ay threat to going concern ang entity. So, kailangan niya na siya i-disclose. And it could be disclosed in the notes to financial statement. Order of presenting the notes. So, the standard provides that an entity normally presents notes in the following order to assist users understanding the financial statements and to compare them with financial statements of other entities. Unsa man ang order of priority or order of presentation. First is statement of compliance with the PFRS. So in there, in that section, state niya that the reporting entity, in accordance with the related accounting standard, the reporting standard, has complied and presented the information in the financial statement in accordance with the PFRS. So, kumbaga, iyahang compliance statement. So, mo na siya ang nasa first section. Letter D, summary of significant accounting policies used. So, kung sa itong mga accounting policies nga gi-implement niya sa pag-report sa mga items, so kailangan niya na siya i-disclose. The letter C, supporting information or computation for line items presented in the financial statement. So, included na diri, like say for example, in the statement of financial position, in your line item cash and cash equivalents, makita lang man dito sa financial position ang combined no sa cash and cash equivalents. Now in the statement, in the notes of financial statement, dira na to makita ang details or disaggregation of the balance presented in the financial position of those items under cash and cash equivalents, such as cash in bank, cash on hand, petty cash fund, and other funds. Then other disclosures such as contingent liabilities, unrecognized contractual commitments, and non-financial disclosures. So those are some of the required disclosures. In some circumstances, it may be necessary or desirable to vary the order of specific items within the notes. However, the entity must retain the systematic presentation and structure of the notes as far as practicable. Compliance with the PFRS. So, paragraph provides that an entity whose financial statements comply with the PFRS shall make an explicit and unreserved statement of such compliance in the note. And take note, according to the order of presentation, it will come first. Okay? So, pinakauna gid siya ang compliance statement sa reporting entity. An entity shall not describe financial statements as complying with PFRS unless they comply with all the requirements of each applicable PFRS. Now, there are some that for purposes of compliance, they will just state in the notes to financial statement that they comply with the PFRS, but actually they were not. Okay? So dapat when you are going to explicitly state your compliance with the PFRS, kailangan you really comply with all the requirements. Accounting policies. So the second part will be the accounting policies, disclosure of significant accounting policies. So what I mean by accounting policies, these are defined as specific principles, methods, practices, rules, bases, and conventions adopted by entity in preparing and presenting the financial statements. Accounting standards set out the required recognition and measurement principles that an entity shall follow in preparing its financial statements and shall often prescribe the accounting policy to be adopted. Now, example for accounting policy is for inventory. Okay? So, when you value or when you record your inventory, you use the FIFO method or, say, for example, average method. So, whatever the principles or practices or rules or shall I say accounting policy gigamit mo in accounting for inventory, that must be disclosed in the notes to financial statements. Method of depreciation. If you use straight line, double declining, or sum of years digit in computing the depreciation, that should be disclosed in the notes to financial statements. And any other accounting policies na i-implement ninyo sa inyong company. Significant accounting policies, this shall disclose the following. So may kailangan ng mga disclosure, measurement basis used in preparing the financial statements, and the accounting policies used that are relevant to an understanding of the financial statement. So, as I've mentioned earlier, mo to siya, no? Ang mga examples of the significant accounting policies. Disclosure of measurement basis. Why is it important to disclose the measurement basis? So, may mga measurement basis na to. Do we use fair value, the cost, the replacement cost? Okay, so may importance ana niya. It is important for an entity to inform users on the measurement basis used in the financial statements because the basis on which the entity prepares the financial statement significantly affects the user's analysis. So, moto siya, no, it will have or it will be relevant on the part of the users. Okay? Kung unsa man gali ang measurement basis nato. Accounting policies. In deciding whether a particular accounting policy should be disclosed, management shall consider whether the disclosure would assist users in understanding how transactions, other events, and conditions are reflected in the financial statements. Disclosure of particular accounting policies is especially useful to users when those policies are selected from alternatives allowed in the financial or Philippine financial reporting standard. Like say, for example, if you have accounting policies that is considered as an alternative of the PFRS, meaning dili siya recommended by the PFRS but it is actually applicable sa inyuhang entity. So, for those na wala nakabaluan na ang accounting policy, then you need to disclose that. Disclosure of judgment. The standard provides that an entity shall disclose in the summary of significant accounting policies the judgment that management has made in the process of applying accounting policies and that have a significant effect on the amounts recognized in the financial statement. So the important here is that when such judgment will have a relevant effect or significant effect on the recognition or presentation of the items in the FS, then that judgment shall be disclosed. Specifically, management makes judgment in determining the following. whether financial statements are to be measured at fair value or amortized cost, whether substantially all the significant risks and rewards of ownership of the leased assets are transferred to the lessee, whether in substance, particular sales of goods or product, financing arrangement, and therefore do not give rise to revenue. So those are some examples of management decisions that that needs to be or not that needs to have a professional judgment. Disclosure of estimation uncertainties. Okay, katong mga contingencies. Okay, examples ani mga contingencies. The standard provides that an entity shall disclose information about the assumptions it makes about the future and other major sources of uncertainty at the end of the reporting period that have a significant risk of resulting in a material adjustment to the carrying amount of assets and liabilities within the next financial year. For example, katong natay mga contingent losses, okay, contingent losses or contingent liability that will, though it is possible lang siya, the degree of occurrence niya is possible lang siya, but it may have a significant risk in the future that will result into material adjustments. So, kailangan siya i-disclose. With respect to those assets and liabilities, the notes shall include the nature and carrying amount of the assets and liabilities at the end of the reporting period. Other disclosures. What are the other disclosures? We have the domicile and legal form of the entity, its country of incorporation, and the address of the registered office or principal place of business. Second, a description of the nature of the entity's operation and its principal activities, and the name of the parent and the ultimate parent of the group if that is a consolidated. Okay, so now let's have the example of notes to financial statement. Again, in the notes to financial statement, we will come first with the compliance with the PFRS. So in the compliance, kailangan ang entity will explicitly state its compliance in the PFRS. So, ingon siya diri the financial statements have been prepared in compliance with the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards and the rules and regulations of the Philippine Securities and Exchange Commission. The accounting policies adopted in the presentation of the financial statements have been applied on a consistent basis. So that is the first note. Second note, i-state niya mga significant accounting policies, measurement basis, kung saan ginagamit, historical costs, except those do not take into account changing prices and current costs of non-current assets. For inventories, ang yang gigamit daw is lower of FIFO and net realizable value, PPE, and then capital expenditures. Okay. Cash equivalents, intangible assets, sa iyahang mga accounting policies. For research and development, income taxes, earnings per share. And after that one, dirian na tong mga disaggregation, mga detalye. Now, in the statement of financial possession, inventories, okay, inventories in the current asset will only show a total amount of 6,200,000 for December 31, 2019 and 5,300,000 for December 31, 2018 if it is a comparative financial statement. But here, sa notes of financial statement, gi-breakdown niya ang kaning total. So this includes finished goods inventory, goods in process, raw materials, manufacturing supplies, and the allowance for inventory write-down. So inana siya basta sa notes to financial statement. For contingent liability, okay, so yung gi-disclose kana ay contingency. The entity is a defendant in a patent infringement suit seeking damages of 2 million. The suit is still pending and the entity's legal counsel firmly believe that the case will not prosper. Okay, so isa na siya sa kailangan mga i-disclose. Okay, if in case, in such case, the same with the inventories, kung naay mga items in the financial statements nga aggregated amount lang ang gibutang sa face, then the disaggregation of those line item will be disclosed in the notes to financial statement. Next, note 5, long-term debt. Okay? Now, again, ang isa sa mga purpose nato no sa notes to financial statement is for cross-referencing. Okay? Kani mga note number ani will also signify unsa siya nga note diri as a notes to financial statement. Makita man nato ning mga note number dito as a face of the financial statements. So, like say for example, sa minimum line item nga inventory. Okay? Sa inventory, na nakabutang dito sa kilid sa inventory 3. That means, kung i-cross-reference nimo sa notes to financial statement, naa siya sa note number 3. Okay, so that ends the discussion for the notes to financial statement. So I hope that you have learned from this video, and for your further understanding, kindly refer to these references listed. And if you have questions, you may ask it through our group chat. Okay, so thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you learned a lot, and have a good day.